So we are coming off of, we're coming off a very, very strong week of training. For me, coming off of last week, as you can see, it's crazy. Coming off of last week, it was a very challenging week for me because I felt like I was entering into burnout. But I think honestly, I felt like there was still a little bit of burnout. There was a lot of stuff going on, and just in my professional life, just creating programs, and just maintaining a staff, maintaining staffing in my my actual work profession, and also maintaining fitness, maintaining being a husband, and all of those things. Here I want to make it clear that this isn't the typical athlete. I know, and for me, it's all about showcasing, or just kind of talking through how I get through my my fitness routines, and how I'm building my career, and how I'm building my company, how I'm building my life with my my wife and my family, and those things that most of us are going through, that when you see a super athlete or someone who's getting paid for running or for fitness, you don't necessarily see those things. But the hardest thing is you're comparing yourself to those people. You're comparing yourself to the people who don't have kids, or they're not in a marriage, they don't have obligations that you have. And most people compare themselves to that, when in reality, they might have it harder, or they might have it easier. There's perks to having a family, and there's perks to not having a family. The way you take your life, or the way you run your life, should be the way you run your life. It never should be compared to somebody else. And one thing that I take away with me is, like, it's great to have a system. It's great to, I always talk about in the beginning stages of my fitness, when, I was 300 pounds and it was time for me to lose weight, having a partner there to actually keep me on track. Me and my wife would go to the gym together. Honestly, the first year of me eating healthy was her just making meal prep for us, just making sure that I had the things that I needed, and that I didn't really necessarily have to think about it, honestly. So, you can't compare yourself to other people, because, everybody's living a separate life. You can't even compare yourself to somebody who's living, you might have 2 kids, and somebody might have 2 kids and a wife, and your schedules are the same, and your fitness level is the same, but your day is not going to be like that person's day. We're all made up differently, but the fact still remains is that you got to wake up and choose to work out every single day, and be fit every single day, eat right every single day. So that's one of the things that I take away from just this last session, or this last time that really feeling like I was dealing with burnout. I think part of it is me taking accountability that I just don't sleep at night, and I have to find ways to make sure that when I get home, I take myself to sleep, or try to rest as much as I can, because that can be a big contributing factor to the lack of fitness that I'm experiencing, or even not the lack of fitness, but the lack of motivation during these workouts, or when I want to start a workout. For me, I'll always show up to a workout, and it's like, do I want to do this right now, or do I not want to do this, versus feeling rested and getting it done. So for the last week, I've been sleeping pretty consistent. I've been recovering pretty consistent, and also, my strain has been in a decent place. I literally had the best workout week since I was training for a triathlon, and part of that is just getting sleep, getting rest, recovering well, and showing up with the intention of doing my workout and not worried about everything else that's going on. Sometimes you can get into the workout and you're worried about, what's my son, how's my son doing in school, how's my wife doing, and how's work, and X, Y, Z. And the reality is the workout can be 30 minutes to 40 minutes of your day versus the rest of the day that you have to think about those things. So for me, it's been intentional when I'm in my workout to only think about the workout. Like, I used to have a saying when I was losing weight, that the gym felt like my sanctuary because it was the only place that I was allowed to be selfish. I only thought about myself for those 30 to 40 minutes. Although you're there to make sure that you're healthy for your family, but the goal is that you're focused on yourself. That's a time to be in the sanctuary, to work out, to do the things that you need to do for yourself, so you can be there for everybody else. So it's like a moment to be selfish so that you can be selfless. That was the way that I looked at it, and that was something that I always carry with me. So it's really just bringing that mentality back to these workouts, figuring out a way to be selfish for those 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, because if I'm on a bike ride or if I'm on a long run, it will be those 2 hours. But to spend that time being selfish, to come back to be selfless. So those are the things that I've been working on at the moment. Just trying to be in the moment, making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do so I can get the workouts done and get on with my day. And I literally had the best week in training since December, or before December. Those are things that I'm working on. I mean, long run went well. I did, the weather broke a little bit, so I got a chance to get out here and get on a bike. I did a 40-mile ride, which was like phenomenal. And I love being on the bike. The bike doesn't seem like a workout to me. Like, when I'm on a bike, it just feels like I'm just enjoying my day. Like, I feel like a little kid. I'm like giddy when I get to ride my bike. So that doesn't necessarily feel like a workout. That's just stuff that I love to do. I think we're getting to the end of winter, and I'm excited for that because I get a chance to be outside more, and I get the chance to enjoy this the weather. Right now we're going to in Pittsburgh, we're going through a little rain spell because why not? That's just the weather. But other than that, we're focused. We're still maintaining. I mean, at times it seems like you have those moments where you don't necessarily want to give up, but you wonder what you're doing it for, and then you'll have a amazing workout, and then it will remind you why you're doing it, and remind you of your fitness level. That's the biggest thing. It's like sometimes you forget that you can do what you're trying to do. You always, for me, after I'm done with my race, or after if I go into a recovery off season and then it's time to come back, I always have the worst imposter syndrome, because that 8-minute pace, 8:40, 8:30-minute pace that you were throwing down when you were in peak fitness, and then when you come back and it's like 10-minute to 11-minute paces, just trying to get back fit, I always get imposter syndrome, because I'm like, dang, man, how did I do that? Like, at that time, I can't believe that was something that I actually was able to accomplish. And then now you're back to kind of maintaining that fitness. It's always interesting, the build-up phase and the get fit phase that I'm working, especially when you're going through that phase in the winter. It's hard to get outside. The treadmill is tough at times. You're just stuck inside. You ain't seen the sun in 2 months, so it's very hard at those times. But it's very it's a challenge to get your head out of the clouds, for a lack of better words, and get back on track. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're focused on. And so we're in week 7 of marathon training, and we're getting ready. We got about 2 months, two full months, not even 2 full months, not less than 2 full months until the Pittsburgh Marathon. And so we're going to use these next 9 weeks, 10 weeks. We're right in between 9 and 10 weeks to get fit and get ready, and get ready to throw down like we do. This is our 8th full marathon, so this is going to be interesting. This is a big one for me. I chose to not think about time. I'm not really thinking about, of course I want to have a race pace and I have a time that I'm thinking, but I'm not putting the biggest pressure to get sub 4 or to get any crazy goal. I want to just have a good race. My main goal this time around is just to have a good race, to run this race smart and finish. And then we'll see where we go. This is only the Pittsburgh Marathon is the first race of the season, so I don't know necessarily where we're going to go or what we're going to do this season, but I have some interesting things planned and some cool things lined up. So let's do it. It's just another week. Let's get it done.